Great to be here. I'm Elie. Been in the NFT space around 5 years now. Launched a collection back in 2018 called Crypto Fighters, and I'm also the, creator of ERC721R, which we're going to be speaking about today. Wow, okay, small font. So the problem that ERC721R addresses is that in Web 2, we're used to 30-day money-back guarantees. If you go into a shop, you buy a T-shirt, you don't like it, you can return it and get your money back within, probably a month or whatever the rules are in that country or in that shop. Within the NFT space, on this note, we've seen a ton of rugs over the last 2 years. People raised a huge amount of money, often with sort of no real commitment to their users after that. Often teams disappeared within a week, within a month. Sometimes that was okay, it was a piece of art, no real roadmap, and sometimes sort of us as sort of purchasers and collectors, we expected a bit more from the teams. We expected them to continue with their roadmap and sort of build what they say they would build. What ERC721R does is it adds protections in for consumers, for purchasers. Basically, if you go and mint an NFT, you'll have a 30-day or 100-day money-back guarantee. In that period, the funds are escrowed in the smart contract, and anyone that's purchased can go and refund in that period. So let's say you bought 3 NFTs for some collection, it was a membership pass, you expected this community to be strong, have good utility, whatever it is, and you see within a week of purchase that nothing's really happening in this community. It's a bit dead, it's not what you expected, the team has sort of disappeared. So in that case, you can go, you return the NFTs and you get a refund. There are different mechanics and different ways to go and do this. You could have like a full refund mechanism, or you could have a vesting mechanism where you, let's say, the team can get access to maybe 20% of the funds and then another 20% a few weeks later and so on. Similar to how sort of we have vesting in startups, you could do the same thing for NFT mints. And the big advantage for this is, I've spoken a lot about sort of how it protects consumers a lot, but there are also huge benefits to the teams that are using the refund mechanic. The reason basically every shop in the world allows you to take a refund, it's not only because they want to be nice, it's because it's much easier to make a purchase if you can get a refund within a certain period of time. You might buy that T-shirt that you were on the fence about, maybe thinking you're going to return it a week later, and then in the end, sort of you keep it. That's definitely happened to me. And yeah, it's not just a benefit for sort of the consumer, it's also a benefit for the project that's minting. I'm not going to go too much into the case studies right now, but a few examples that have happened. Exodia, Crypto Fighters Alliance, Curious Addies was a good one. They had a 100-day refund policy. Just in terms of sort of how these projects did, most of them minted out and had very few refunds. For example, Curious Addies, I think 100-day refund period, 0.08 ETH was the mint price. I think it wasn't 10,000, but maybe 8,000 or so NFTs I think they minted, and maybe 15% or so of people that refunded. So that's an example of a team that it worked very well for. Some people talk about this standard as sort of the unruggable contract. It does add protections for buyers. It's definitely not unruggable. Just because you have a 30-day money-back guarantee, the team can disappear after 2 months, and that has happened. And so it adds a certain level of protection for buyers, but it's not, it's not bulletproof. And the sort of the flip side of that as well, it'd be cool if, maybe we could have a vesting contract for 4 years. The team slowly unlocks, the money in the contract over a 4-year period, or a 1-year period, or sort of a really long length of time. And then maybe it really is like quite unruggable, but the downside of such an approach is that the team does want access to the money to actually go and build. So if we sort of make the refund period too long, then you risk basically, the team is going to be sort of a bit stuck. So you do, as sort of a founder, want that like refund period to end, so you know how many funds you have and so on. So yeah, as a founder, if you're using this standard, what I'd recommend is anywhere, but on the lower amount, but I think you still provide a ton of protection, even if it's a 1 month, 3 month refund period, whatever it is, but it can't be too long because you do want to use the funds at some point. But obviously each team decides how they want to use it. In terms of when ERC721R makes sense, there are different types of products. So I don't think it makes sense for every single team to use a refundable standard. If you're buying a piece of art, you know exactly what you're buying. You know, there's no real like sort of utility you're expecting. You can see what you're buying exactly then. Utility is the art. So there maybe a refund doesn't make sense. You know, you knew what you were buying at the time. Investment products as well, if we look at, let's say, stocks, you know, if you buy Apple shares and it goes down in price, you know, you don't get a refund. But many other types of products, a refund mechanism will make a lot of sense for them. And yeah, as I mentioned, it adds protections for the consumer. Another way of looking at ERC721R as well is like a sort of a market cap discovery, a price discovery mechanism, but like, sort of like a Dutch auction, but in reverse, where it's like very consumer friendly, where basically what happens in like NFT mints today, that a certain number of NFTs are sold, and then within a week after the mint, you know, the price of the NFT might be above mint price, it might be below mint price. If it's below mint price, and this is something that actually doesn't happen in ERC721R, because there's no point in refunding it below, like there's no point in selling something below the mint price, you might as well just return it. But basically when an item is going below mint price, it's a signal that, you know, the market thinks that this NFT collection has been sort of, you know, too many purchases have been made, the market can't handle that size market cap. And yeah, and that's why the NFTs are being sold below what the mint price was. But with ERC721R, you basically have a floor protection mechanism where, you know, if we see that the market cap can't be sustained, then the NFTs are actually returned instead of just sort of being sold below the market cap, below the mint price. And that's also a huge benefit to NFT collections. Floor price going below mint price after mint is not a great thing for collections, and this is a good protection mechanism. In terms of the legal side, if anyone has seen the Porsche NFT mint that probably happened a month or two ago, there was actually a whole debate around, they had something in their terms and conditions that actually said you couldn't refund, and you sort of had to like click a checkbox to say you're not going to get the refund because in European countries you would sort of be entitled to that by law. And there were even claims that like maybe you can get a refund from Yuga Labs. I'm not sure that went anywhere, but it's an interesting discussion. But the reason I actually bring this up is because I think what happened with Porsche is they sold $1 million worth of NFTs. They tried to sell $10 million worth. If I was Porsche, I would have jumped on that refund mechanism and had it in place, and they would have sold out the full $10 million with ease. Basically, you have a risk-free mint here where you can return the NFT if it doesn't go well. Everyone with a strong name like Porsche behind it, there's no way they're not selling out $10 million worth of NFTs. And even if then in the future, you know, 50% would have gone and refunded the NFTs, it still would have done a lot better than the $1 million they did go and raise. So if there are any big brands here or like that can like sort of take the risk of maybe getting a lot of refunds, I think this is a mechanism that a lot more teams should be using. I don't think it's a bad thing that people can refund and the lawyers here tried to stop it. I think it would have been like an incredible mechanism to protect users. That's the end of the talk. Happy to take questions. I run ShareMint. We're a Web3 referral platform. But okay, no questions, but happy to follow up on Twitter. I'm Elie with 4 2s at the end. Sorry.